everybody, welcome back to my channel, sushidragonmasters, and today I am going to do this seafood book tag. Now this is my second time filming it because like somewhere in the middle of the first question my camera just turned off. So we're doing this again, and because it's a seafood book tag I have two octopi over here and a manatee. Manatee are not food, or is it manatees? Is manatee plural manatee? Or is it manatees? I don't know, but we don't eat manatees, we hug manatees. Unless they're aggressive. I don't think they are. I think they're pretty chill animals. So you could probably give one a hug. I want to hug a manatee. They're adorable. The seafood book tag was created by Josh from Literary Gladiators. I will link his channel and original tag video down below. And now let's get into the tag and hope my camera does not shut off. So the first question is lobster, a work you enjoyed more after reading it a second time. So my answer for this question is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I read this for the first time last year and I thought it was okay. I mean, it's like a little cute romance story. It wasn't anything special in my head, and then I just had this random desire to read it again, and then I did, and I liked it a lot more. And part of the reason was because I watched the movie that was mentioned in here, which is It Happened One Night, and the story in this book sort of mirrors the story in It Happened One Night in its own way. So it, like, watching the movie, it makes more sense. Like, that's why they watched that movie in here instead of something else. And if you've read this book, I do recommend watching It Happened One Night. I do say that a lot because it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good movie. Makes the book more awesome than it already is. So this is my answer. Question 2 is Caviar, a renowned work in the eyes of the canon that you cannot stand. Now this book is a book, and it's Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I read it and I couldn't stand it. The writing in it was just I can't stand it when things aren't spelled right. So that was like my worst nightmare. And I wasn't even enjoying the story by itself. So I don't find it that exciting. Number 3 is Crab, a work that is hard to find but worth the search. Now this is something that I have not found at all yet, but it has to exist somewhere. And I want it so bad, and that is a script of The Music Man. I just want to read it and love it because The Music Man is my favorite movie of all time. The original one from whatever year it was from, I want to say it's 1962, but it might have been 1963, one of those years. But before that, it was a play, and so there has to be a readable version of it somewhere out there. I mean, this play is still performed today. I just don't know how to obtain this because I want to read it so bad because I love this movie and I want to see the play and I want to read the script. Question 4 is Shrimp, a writer that is well-rounded. I am going to go with Rick Riordan because everything he writes has to require a lot of research because it all involves, like, Percy Jackson is a lot of ancient Greek stuff, and so you need to be really familiar with the myths and try to incorporate them into modern times. And then there is the Heroes of Olympus that I almost called House of Hades because it was the first thing I looked at. where it's Greek and Roman together, and since Greek and Roman is very, very similar, you have to be able to tell the difference between them, which sometimes I can't, so I don't know how he did it. And then there's King Chronicles, which is Egyptian mythology, which I knew like nothing about. I thought I knew stuff about it, but turns out I knew nothing. So that almost seems like it'd be harder to obtain information about, because I don't really think you really learn about Egyptian mythology in ancient Egypt as much as you learn about ancient Greece. And then he has Magnus Chase, which is Norse mythology, which I also thought I knew stuff about, but turned out I knew nothing about, and that one is even more confusing, so I don't know how he did that either. But you do kind of learn things while you're reading this, so obviously he has to know something to put it in here. And it's also really funny, and it has its moments where it's sad, it makes you laugh, makes you cry, sometimes you want to scream at it. It's really well written. I highly recommend this series to everybody because it's my favorite. Number 5 is Salmon, an educational nonfiction book you felt grabbed your attention. I'm actually not really that into nonfiction stuff because I tend to read for fun, although I'm sure there's fun nonfiction out there, like my answer to this question, which is 52 must-see movies and why they matter. So this is pretty much exactly what it says it is. It's 52 different movies, and it talks about why it's essential, and then at the end it'll have things that you can look for when you watch the movie. And I have read some of the movies. I haven't read all of them yet, but what I read I enjoyed, and I really enjoyed reading about It Happened One Night. Yeah, that's coming back. That always comes up in conversation. No, it doesn't, but you know what? It does now. And I also enjoyed reading about some of the movies that I haven't even seen yet, and it doesn't even necessarily make me want to watch them, but it was just interesting to see stuff about it. Number 6 is Seaweed, a difficult chapter in what was otherwise a great book. So, in 1984, by George Orwell, there is a chapter. Don't know which one it is. I know it's in here though. And something happened in that chapter that was kind of gross. And, you know, it wasn't even kind of gross. It was gross. It was disgusting. I don't know. I'm sure maybe it did serve a greater purpose. Maybe it represented stuff. I don't know. I don't know. It was when they were in that room that was like all white. I remember that specifically. And then that other guy came in, and then he did the gross thing. Number 7 is Jellyfish, a work people would be surprised to know you have read. The most surprising thing I can think of is these little thingies that are basically Shakespeare plays, but they're told through like text messages, and there's emojis and like Twitter stuff and Facebook stuff and like notes on a phone. And the reason I would say this is probably surprising is because I really enjoyed the Hamlet one, and I read the Hamlet one, and I used to say that I would never read Shakespeare, especially Hamlet, because he just, like, everyone dies, and I want to read happy things, but I actually read this and really liked it. Number 8 is Tuna, a best-selling writer you feel possesses great quality. I mean, I obviously think Rick Riordan does. I spoke of it earlier, and I love his books. But to be a little different, I could also say Marissa Meyer, because she did a good job of taking fairy tales from their original form and turning them into a sci-fi version. Number 9 is Trout, a work where your opinion was heavily inspired by time, place, or point of view. So for this one, I kind of went with something that made me develop an opinion on something. For this question, I'm going with Whisper by Chrissy Kagri, and the reason is because even though I had some issues with the book, it's about this girl who recently went deaf semi-recently. I don't think it was really that recent, but she's going to an all-deaf school, and there's this one character that is like really big on different deaf-related topics, like deaf people should be able to do this, deaf people need this, and there's kind of this one thing that was brought up when the main character went to this girl's house for a party where they were talking about wanting to be able to text. I believe they were saying like 999 or 111 or something like that because it was Australian. At first I was like, why? What even is that? And I was like, oh wait, that's their 911. And I kind of realized that should be a thing, because if you're deaf and can't hear, you can't really call 911 and like answer questions because you can't hear what they're saying. So I think that should be a thing, that we should text 911, and that opinion was brought up by a book. So number 10 is Cod, a dense work you feel readers could potentially enjoy if given the patience. For this, I'm going to go with The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. It's not the thickest of books. It's about 500 pages, which is still pretty thick, but there's longer books out there in the world. But this book, I do know a lot of people say it's boring and it's slow, but if you really take the time to read through it, it's amazing. And I mean, even though I was enjoying it, I still had to put it down a few times, or more than a few times. I had to put down a lot because it is World War II in Germany, and there's just some things that happen that are spoken about that it's just kind of like, and now it's time for a break. But it's really good, and I highly recommend this book. Number 11 is Eel, the writer you feel shocks you the most. Closest access I had was a Dust Jacket, but this is Sarah J. Maas, because I sometimes get scared to turn the page because I'm like, you're gonna kill them, they're gonna die, and then I'm gonna be sad, but like then they don't die, and then it's like, wait, what just happened? And then yeah, she makes lots of exciting plot twists that are exciting and shocking and plot twisty. Number 12 is Sturgeon, your favorite work written or set before the Common Era. And for this, after thinking about it for a long time and considering things and options and stuff, I went with the Greek myths. I've read some of them in like in a thing that was like told by Percy Jackson, but it's the actual Greek myths just told by Percy Jackson, so it's really fun. But number 13 is Fish on a Dish. What is your favorite seafood or seafood dish? I mean, I'm not a big fish person, like the actual fishes, but I like crustaceans a lot, so anything like shrimp, crab, lobster, it's all good to me. I don't know what my favorite is, probably just shrimp in general. I mean, you could just give me shrimp in any form and I'll try it, so shrimp. Number 14 is Fish Your Wish. What kind of seafood do you wish to try? I don't know. I mean, there's this thing at Red Lobster that I've wanted to try that's like a I want to say it's like called a shrimp sampler, but it has like 3 different kinds of shrimp. And I think they're all kinds that I haven't had before. I mean, they're all shrimp and I've had shrimp before, but like they're different kinds of shrimp that I haven't had before. And I always want to try it, but every time we go I end up not getting it. So, yeah. I do that a lot. Number 15 is fish and chips. Who do you tag? I don't really have any specific people I want to tag, so I'll just say if you have eaten shrimp within the past month, I tag you because shrimp is awesome. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below and let me know what your favorite book sea creature is. Mine is the sea wyverns in Throne of Glass series because a wyvern is a 2-legged dragon and I love dragons and they're sea dragons. I mean, what could be better? Even though they're evil and they kind of try to kill people, but you know what? They're still cool. I will see you guys next time. Bye!